It's good to see the guys back on the field. Good to see the new guys trying to mingle and get acclimated with the returning players. So at the end of the day, now it's the beginning of the new year, the new process. So just have a lot of things to figure out, and we're working real hard trying to do that. At this point, we have a lot of positions open for business. A lot of guys trying to earn spots, and we have some returning players in some of those spots, but we also have some new guys that are fighting to win a job. So I'd say there's very few positions right now we have, including the infield, that people say that's definitely who's going to play there. We know he can play right field at a very high level. We know he can play center field at a very high level. We want to see if he's a legitimate option at third base, and that's what the fall will be for us. You're gonna see him there a lot this fall, and then we'll make a decision after these 6 weeks whether that's a viable option or whether we need to return him to the outfield. He has all the skills you need over there. He has good hands. He has some quickness. He has arm strength. So it makes sense with that being one of the positions we lost guys to see if he's a viable option.
Worked Noah at second base yesterday. Is that what you envision for him? And then second question, where do you envision Chris Cohen playing?
Chris will get most of his work with us at this point as a catcher. We have two new catchers, but I think Chris at this point is the most polished catcher we have on our roster. So I think that's where he'll get the bulk of his work. Noah Campbell has made some nice strides on the infield, and so he definitely is a legitimate option at second base. Now, just like everybody else, though, he's got to prove that he should be there every day. There's a few things we'll want to get out of it. Number one, you want to get the new players in your uniform, in front of your crowd, against a really good opponent, so they can get a feel for what a game action really feels like. Next, we want to see how the pieces of the puzzle fit together. Maybe a guy you think fits here, you try him in a real game situation, it doesn't quite look right. So there'll be a lot of experimentation. Winning the games will be secondary. Rarely will we ever say that, but winning the games in these scrimmages will be secondary to making sure we get guys experience, getting them looks in different spots, and getting our new players a good feel for what it's like to wear a South Carolina uniform in a game setting. I wouldn't say that we're where we want to be yet, where we can say we are a legitimate national championship contender from day one of fall ball. We're not to that point yet. But does that mean we can't have a really good season? We can have a really good season. I see a lot of talent out on the field. But I don't think as a coach here I'll ever be satisfied and say we have it exactly how we want it. We're always going to be looking for the next thing we can improve in, whether it's personnel, whether it's how we're working out, whether it's the weight room, whatever the case may be. I don't think I'll ever be able to answer that question and say it's exactly where we want it, because as soon as we get it to a good spot, we're going to look to get better. Biggest difference is guys are working on things, and so you don't have to get that solution tomorrow. If we had a weekend series against LSU this weekend, for example, and a guy was working on a breaking ball and trying to figure something out, you can have more patience now as he works through that than if you had to try to win a game this weekend. So I would say the biggest thing in the process is the patience you'll have as they go through maybe some bumps in the roads as they're working on things to make their game better. Graham Lawson will redshirt. He had Tommy John surgery in the off season, so he'll take a redshirt this year, be with us the following year. In terms of guys that should be okay in the spring that are not practicing right now, Ian Jenkins is nursing a back. Chris Cullen has had a little bit of back issues, but not a ton, so you'll see him play for us this fall. Ridge Chapman had a small procedure, so you probably will not see him pitch this fall, but he'll be ready to go come springtime. That should be about what you're looking. Joel Brewer has a little bit of a hand issue right now, a freshman, but he should be fine for the spring as well.
Now with Graham, does he still count toward the 35 if he's going to redshirt?
No, he will not.
Andrew Eister, I think I got his name
Correct.
right.
Eister.
Can you kind of, he obviously tore it up in the Virginia League. Can you sort of assess what you see from him and what you expect?
He's a big, strong guy, and appears to be a very natural hitter. Has big time pop. His numbers on our TrackMan system have been extremely impressive already. And in his first scrimmage yesterday in our uniform, he was 2 for 2. So he's a guy that will definitely have a major impact for us this year. Where he plays is still to be determined. Needs to make improvements defensively, but he's a guy that our fans should be very excited about.